Akufo-Addo nominates Executive Director of the Institute of Economic Affairs as the new chairperson of the Electoral Commission.
Meanwhile, 2 other persons have also been nominated by the President to fill the positions of Deputy Commissioners of the Electoral Commission.
Also coming up, Asin Central MP Kenny Japan apologizes for his alleged contemptuous comments.
Now, more trouble for savings and loans company Midland as its customers besiege its branches to withdraw their deposits.
The details now. The Executive Director of the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, Jane Adukwe-Mensah, has been nominated as the new chairperson of the Electoral Commission. This was announced in a statement from the presidency earlier today.
Other persons nominated for appointment by President Akufo-Addo to the Commission include Samuel Tete, Deputy Chairperson, Dr. Eric Asare Bosman, Deputy Chairperson, and Ms. Adjoa Isiama Brifa, Member of Commission. The statement signed by the Chief of Staff, Fremal Pariose, said President Akufo-Addo had sought the advice of the Council of State in accordance with Article 70, Clause 2 of the Constitution for the appointment for a new chairperson, 2 deputy chairpersons, and a member of the Electoral Commission, EC. So, who are these persons? Now, my colleague, Sixtus Don Ulo, has joined me here, and he's going to give us more insight. Thank you very much, Sixtus, for your time.
Thank you, Firma.
Right, so quickly take us through who these persons are.
You remember when we started the speculations, if you like, about the names that were prominently going up or coming up for nomination into the Electoral Commission.
Yeah.
Madam Jane Mensah's name came out strongly. Already we know that she's the Executive Director of the IEA.
Yeah.
We know that she's done a lot of work to contribute in terms of policy formulation to the electoral processes, including engagement with political parties, including policy framework and policy direction for electoral processes within the country. That's a lot of work that's led by her team, the IEA, did into this. Now, the only challenge that her nomination might be faced with would be the challenge that is posed by the NDC largely. We know that in time past, particularly running into the 2016 elections, the NDC had been so critical of how she ran the affairs of her contribution to the electoral processes, particularly when it came to presidential debates. You would recall that the IEA is one body that has constantly organized debates for presidential candidates, their running mates, and even at some level, they made sure that the debates were not just held within Accra, but also in Tamale, just to ensure that a lot of people got involved in the process.
Yeah.
But the NDC thinks that the woman look is not. I
mean, these things are to be expected. Are you surprised?
I can't say I'm surprised, but what really are the concerns? Is there any genuine concern that the NDC is raising? If you recall, even from here at Citi, we published stories on some of these concerns that the NDC had raised at the time. So let's see what more evidence they have to bring up in the coming days, because the General Secretary says they have a lot to talk about, a lot to give Ghanaians on them. Let's quickly look at the others. Yes, Samuel Tete is Director of Electoral Services as we speak currently at the Electoral Commission. And for those who were actively involved in the 2016 elections, you would see how active he was. And that probably is because of the background that he has come from in terms of election management. He's been District Director of Elections, he's been Regional Director of Elections, he's led or been part of observer mission to a lot of countries across the region. And so he has a broad base of experience, that he brings on board. More importantly, he is part of the system. Now, whether that is good or bad, we have to see. Because remember, one of the concerns that came out prominently was the case that there was some level of sabotage at the commission. This is what Charlotte Osei complained about. But was he part of the problem? Was he part of the solution? We are yet to find out about that. But if how he ran the system at the time is anything to go by, then we can say that yes, he was part of the solution, and we will soon be getting to see details on that one.
The others.
Dr. Bosman, one-time lecturer of mine.
Okay.
You know, and he's just like Jane Mensah. People say he's not his affiliation to the NPP is not hidden, but of course there are some people that you can say they merely by their presentations or by their utterances they are members of a political party, unless of course the person can give you a particular membership card to a particular political party. But for a lot of the people who went through Legon, the political science department of the University of Ghana, where currently he's the head of department, he is such a man who speaks so passionately about our politics. He speaks passionately about developments, about our electoral processes, but you can't blame him. It's the background from which he comes. I mean, a background in international relations. This is a man who has studied so much in international relations, in politics, in the electoral system and processes. And so, yes, he's passionate about it and he wants to see some change. Will he bring that change on board? Will he be seen as an enemy of the system, that's of the opposition, or the opposition would welcome him? We are yet to see that play out with regards to the minority.
Quickly, Madam Abrifa.
A relatively unknown face. You know, if you monitored the system, you hardly would even expect a name as Mrs. Adjoa Abrifa to come up. I mean, this is somebody who has lived her life in the corporate world as a lawyer, you know, advising companies on how to run their businesses without getting themselves into trouble. Now she finds herself in the public space. And there's always that difference between the corporate sector and then the public sector, particularly for those who have spent their entire life or much of their working lives in the private sector, in the corporate zone, and they have to come on board. The difficulty for her would be how to integrate or get that interface between the experience that she has gathered from the corporate society into the office that she's about to occupy. That's if she gets the approval.
The Lord, absolutely. Well, so we can only wait to see what they come on board with. That is if they are confirmed.
And we wish them well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time. So you're still watching Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. Now still with the EC and the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has via a press release voiced its disappointment over the president's nomination of Mrs. Jean Mensah as EC chairperson. According to the opposition party, her nomination makes a nonsense of the president's earlier promise to select someone who is politically neutral. The NDC has also promised to prove that Ms. Jean Mensah will be unfit for the job. Now, still on political parties, now their reaction on the nomination of the CPP has questioned Mrs. Jean Mensah's loyalty. Communications Director of the party, Kadir Abdul Rauf, says her ideologies are in sync with the NPP. Now, before we go on to that story, Nathan, this is what the NDC is saying. Are you surprised?
Not really. I suspected the NDC to provide a comment of this nature, whoever the nominee was. And knowing their previous history with Mrs. Mensah of the IEA, I'm not too surprised this is coming now. I don't know what the government will say in response. I don't know what Mrs. Mensah will say in response. But we'll just have to wait and see if she gets the approval. Her work will have to vindicate her or the NDC based on their allegations.
Now, you know, do we see this as just propaganda, or we should rather delve more, because they have raised issues earlier and then this has come up? So would you say that it is just one of those issues, considering they didn't know she was going to be given this position?
What I would say is that I think time will answer. I think that she has to prove herself very worthy of the work, of the position that she's been offered, and I think that the government has to also prove beyond reasonable doubt that she can do the work. It's a waiting game, and I think her biggest test now will be election 2020. I think if she passes that test, it will put people's fears or queries to rest. But the NDC, if they have any proper proof, I think they can find the appropriate.
Well, they said they are going to be bringing it out.
Well, they should let it out and let's see what
I would love to see what happens with the presidential debates moving on.
To see if they will be there.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen. Right, so still on political parties, we go over the CPP has also raised similar concerns, and then let's hear what the CPP is saying.
we have to appreciate the fact that Jean Mensah, since 1993, when she and her husband founded the IEA, we know that the ideological beliefs of the IEA has to do with neoliberalism, and then, you know, they have the same ideological thinking with the MPP. So when the NDC or the CPP raises issues about, hey, ideologically, we have strong basis because the think tank that she's working. So when it comes to issues of ideology and policy, we can predict the direction that she's going to go. And on that grounds, I think that there is some difficulty of some sort. We would have expected that the electoral commissioner should be that person that it will be difficult for Ghanaians to be able to pin her to any of the ideological lines. But in the case of Jean Mensah, it shouldn't be difficult for one to know where she comes from ideologically.
Let's stay with the nomination of Jean Mensah of the IEA as the Electoral Commission boss. And the former Director of Elections at the EC, Albert Tahin, has welcomed the nomination, saying that Ms. Mensah is fit for the position, considering her experience at the IEA.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad idea. I heard from the grapevine that the president wanted a woman to replace Charlotte, who had been taken away. And, Ms. Mensah has also been with the IEA for quite a long time. And she has a lot of experience, and I believe she's been dealing a lot with, the EC and other matters. So I believe, the team that she's gotten to work by way of the appointment that has been made, I'm sure she'll be able to create a good impression. Well, I'm sure whoever would be put there would definitely have one or two people talking about it. You see, I've always been saying that it depends on the kind of work that the person will go there to do. Sometimes these perceptions, people perceive that because one day he said this or that, it's not likely he's going to do a good work. But let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let her be put in the chair. Let's see what she does, because to be honest with you, this EC job is not something you can easily go and sit there and be doing, one person's bid. You cannot just go there deciding or be doing the work for a party or so. The opposition had some doubts sometimes. I remember there was a time they had to boycott some program that they organized, and stemming from the fact that they think that he was leaning too much to the other side. So, the advice is that she should play her cards very well.
Let's get to Parliament, where some members of the August House have also been expressing their views on the President's nomination in terms of replacing Charlotte Osei as the new chair of the Electoral Commission.
I must say that I'm highly delighted that another woman has been appointed to this position. And I'm sure this is going to come out clearly because of the unfortunate thing that has happened. There are people who have this view that why should a woman behave that way? But I believe that with Mrs. Jean Mensah, I've had a personal relationship with her, and through IEA we have had a number of interactions. She's a woman of substance, and is also another woman who I can really attest to the fact that you will not be corrupt. You will be very forthright with issues, because they have always been seeking for the right governance system and structures to operate within our economy. So I have a lot of confidence in her, and I believe she is going to deliver and give us the kind of electioneering refereeing that we require.
It raises some questions for us. It raises some major issues for us that for me as a citizen, I ask myself, is the president really serious about protecting this democracy? I mean, you can see the partisanship, the attempt to stuff. I mean, a newspaper on Friday, the Herald, had published that Dr. Bosman was actually bragging to friends that he was coming in there. And Dr. Bosman has taken a position that is partisan in the past. I mean, he's supported the NPP in the past. And if you go to his lecture theaters and you listen to his lectures, I mean, it's public knowledge that he is a sympathizer of the NPP. But he's been appointed by the president. You want to ask yourself, I mean, why the president would do that? And in the face of what is a suit at the Supreme Court that is seeking to place an injunction, you'd have expected that the president, who prides himself as a respecter of the rule of law, would have waited to see the Supreme Court ruling. So if the Supreme Court passes an injunction, what would the president do? But you see that this is an attempt by the president to railroad our courts, to preempt the judiciary. The president has a penchant for doing that. He's tried to railroad Parliament by clearing people who are supposed to appear before a parliamentary select committee. He clears them even before Parliament sits on them. The Supreme Court is supposed to pronounce ruling on an injunction suit. He's gone ahead to appoint before, railroading the institutions of state. It's sad. Our president is abusing the democracy that we have.
Thank you. Being a woman, I'm happy, because I know the men were going to say that they took, we took it from a woman and giving it to a man. It is not because she's a woman. She's a strong character and she's able and willing. My prayer is that she will discharge her duties creditably, without any criticism from any quarters. I know she's going to be fair. She's going to be fair because Ghanaians are going to watch. I believe in merit. I believe in competence. I believe in getting what is due you. And so I know that Jane is not going to work because she's been appointed by the president of Ghana, Adedankwa Akufo-Addo. She's going to be non-partisan. She'll be in the middle and draw the line. I know she's going to make women proud.
My brother, I'm shaving you and you are touching your head. I'm just saying that once upon a time, are you aware the NDC had to even boycott IEA programs? The MPP at a point also boycotted. I am saying that I am just giving you an example. I'm not a spokesperson for the MPP. I can't speak for the MPP. I'm speaking for the NDC. And I say we have to speak on it based on certain credibility issues. And we thought the IEA was being under her tutelage and leadership, was being tuned as an instrument of the New Patriotic Party. So we have reason to be concerned. And we are saying first and foremost, the president has jumped the gun. The matter is pending before a competent court of jurisdiction. And an injunction had been sought to restrain him from making an appointment. Why is he jumping all those and making that appointment? He's a lawyer. He ought to know that he should have taken his time. During the MPP's time, they were criticizing the NDC that when Madam Charlotte Osei was appointed, there was no broad consultation. Who has the President Nana Akufo-Addo consulted? Has he consulted the NDC? Has he consulted the CPP? Has he considered the all the other political parties? Which political party has he consulted? You see, when the shoe is in another foot, it's a piece of wood, not a leg.
Now, prior to the nomination of Mrs. Mensah, you would recall that the editor-in-chief of the Crusading Guide newspaper, Mr. Abdul Malik Kweku Jr., has sued the government over the dismissal of Charlotte Osei. In a writ invoking the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court for the interpretation of the Constitution, Mr. Kweku argued that a Chief Justice Committee, which investigated petitions for the removal of the former EC boss, Madam Charlotte Osei, exceeded its constitutional mandate. He thus asked the Supreme Court to pronounce the removal inconsequential. His suit came after another Ghanaian, Fafali Nyonato, also sued the Attorney General against the removal of Charlotte Osei. Despite the suit, the president has gone ahead to announce his nomination. Now, we go over to the telephone lines and speak to lawyer Yao Pong about what this means. Thank you very much for your time, lawyer.
Thank you, Lord.
Now, despite the pending legal matters, the president has gone ahead to name his nominees for the office of the chairperson and his, her deputies. What does this mean?
Well, thank you very much. And it means what it means. It means that the president has, as if the notice that has been made, I have also seen on social media, is authentic. Then it means the president has exercised his constitutional mandate to nominate a person to become the chairman of the Electoral Commission and the other person to fill in the vacancies for the other two commissioners, and I think another for the other person whose position is also vacant for the four of them. So it only means that the president is exercising a mandate that is imposed on him by the Constitution.
Now, considering the matters are before the Supreme Court, where does this leave these cases, especially with that of Ms. Nyonato seeking an injunction?
Thank you. I I think the only comment that I will make now is that I will not make any comment on it because, as you said, it is before the Supreme Court. And I've also had the benefit of knowing that an injunction has been filed. Issues have been raised for the determination of the Supreme Court. I'm not qualified at this stage to make comments on it or even draw conclusions or judgments on it, except to say that when an application for injunction is filed, the parties put forward their various or maybe inconsistent opinions for the judge to take a decision on it. And until that decision is made, I'm not qualified now, unless I want to suffer contempt or other similar improper remedies in relation to me. I will not be able to pass judgment on it. But yes, I'm aware that I think Ms. Fafali, I think that's the name, has filed an injunction for the Supreme Court in relation to the suit that she has filed in that court.
Lawyer Paul, thank you very much for your time.
Grateful.
Now, in 2016, Citi Newsroom's Umaru Sanda Amadu had an exclusive interview with Mrs. Jean Mensah ahead of the 2016 presidential debate series. This was during a time when the two leading political parties, the NDC and the NPP, seemed uninterested in the debate.
Also emphasize that in 2012, the debates were held in November. And so we are not out of schedule, so to speak. Not totally out of schedule at all. In 2012, I don't think it was never an issue to hold the debates and two presidential debates and the vice presidential debate in November. Indeed, all three debates were held in the month of November. The final debate in Accra was held on the 20th of November, whereas this time the final debate has been slated in Accra has been slated for the 22nd. And so we are really within schedule, and there was not an issue. It's important to also mention that the IEA started engaging with the political parties as far back as in May, when it outdoored its election program. And so letters providing information on the debates and, the program were sent out to the presidential candidates and the political parties as far back as in May. And we've had some discussions with a number of the political parties as well. So it's important that we raise the impression that it's as though it's in November when, notification has been provided. 7 months ago, the parties were provided with information regularly. And to date, I believe that each party has received over 8 letters from us, providing them with progress, information on arrangements, and so on. But we are on course. We are fully on the ground. We are implementing our program and our plans, and we don't have any challenge at all with the debates in November.
You are optimistic about the debates, but prior to the debates, you do what you call the evening encounters. I have seen a number of them with the CPP, I have seen the PNC, I have seen Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings, not particularly an evening encounter, but Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the opposition leader, was billed also to have a presidential or evening encounter with the IEA. That has not happened. It has been postponed a number of times. What is going wrong?
Well, as I mentioned, or as we've mentioned, we've been ready. This is something that we've organized, over the last 16 years, since 2000. And this would be the 5th time that the IEA is hosting presidential debates. Indeed, the evening encounters were introduced in 2008 to afford the candidate an opportunity to have a sole platform to present his vision for governing this country. And the interesting thing, or the novel thing about the evening encounter, was that he engaged directly with the cross-section of the public. And so key, representatives of various interest groups were invited to the encounter, and they posed questions to him. The IEA had nothing whatsoever to do with the questions. These were responsible representatives, and we believed that they would pose questions that were of importance to the constituency that they represented. And we've done this since 2008. Unfortunately, we were prepared for the evening encounters with Honorable Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. But the information we received from his campaign team was that he wanted to launch his manifesto. Thankfully, the manifesto has been launched. However, and there are discussions around, the possibility of organizing an evening encounter for him. But the first debate will take place on the 8th of November, and it leaves us with very, very little room.
You're still watching Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Carl.
And I am Freme Dunyami.
Coming up, President Akufo-Addo confirms government will commence implementation of the dual intake system at the senior high school level from September this year. Don't go anywhere.
We spice up your mornings with culturally enriched conversations, social interviews, and policy-oriented discussions that will keep you updated on the progress of the nation.
Because we're giving only those in their third trimester. So in the next 3 months, those in their second would be ready to receive the kits. And we're taking data at registration, which is before they take the kits, at delivery and post-delivery, so that we can analyze and we'll see the numbers. So from the numbers and the data that we're collecting, we would know what has worked, what hasn't worked,
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Let your voice be heard with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.
The Citi FM Literacy Challenge is back. Are you a JHS student? Are you willing to contribute to change? What would you do if you were the president of Ghana? Do you want to win a whopping 10,000 Ghana cedis? If yes, then participate in the Literacy Challenge 2018. Level 1. The year is 2035. The law allows people below age 40 to contest the presidency. As a presidential candidate in a general election, in no less than 600 words, write your manifesto speech. Remember, letter must be in your own handwriting, must be endorsed by a parent or guardian. Add your full contact details and post to the Literacy Challenge, P.O. Box GP 14123 Accra Central, or drop it off at the front desk of Citi FM at the Braka behind the police station. Level 2, the top 50 students selected from all over Ghana shall take a written general knowledge quiz. And finally, level 3, the top 10 students shall compete in the classic quiz competition to win the ultimate prize of 10,000 Ghana cedis. The Literacy Challenge is powered by 97.3 Citi FM and sponsored by Data Bank Edifund and MoneyGram with support from Citi TV. Closing date for entries is Friday, 10th August 2018. Call 0205-973-973 for more inquiries. Terms and conditions apply. For regular news checks as they unfold. 2020 news. All day, all the time. Politics, sports, entertainment, business, and more. 2020 news. We bring you the world in 20 minutes.
And that's all the news in 20 minutes.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. Let's get to some other stories. And despite scores of its customers thronging to branches to withdraw their deposits, management of Midland Savings and Loans say the company will not collapse. Several customers this morning thronged the company's premises demanding to withdraw their savings.
The company received serious public backlash after a video went viral in which a policeman on guard duty manhandled a woman in their premises without immediate reprimands from management. My colleague Sixtus Don Ulo, who visited the East Legon branch of the company, reports of how people massed up to withdraw their funds earlier in the day.
It would appear that the viral video of an incident of police brutality against a customer merely exposed the deep challenges the company has been experiencing over the last couple of weeks. Some frustrated customers narrate the ordeals, the troubles they have gone through over the period trying to withdraw their savings.
We come here like 4 days today. They don't give us nothing. So they tell us that today we will come take our money. Now they take our card off. They see the card with the map, the money. So they take our now. If they don't come back, how we go do now? So we need our money. My money there, they always give me wow.
I came here to the press and they were telling me that network problem. I should come the following day. I went the following day, the same thing, network problem. Eventually, I have to put much pressure on them, and at least I was supposed to give some money, and that's why I left. So 2 weeks after, this is when the policeman came and brutalized the woman. That I brought all these people and there's a notice telling everybody, the public, that we should come back tomorrow. So people are desperate to collect their money today. If they don't get their money, they are not going.
These concerns go contrary to a disclaimer issued by KNet, Midland Savings and Loans IT solutions provider, which suggested that Midland had no such challenges. But relationship manager for the East Legon branch of Midland Savings and Loans, Albert Ransford Nyako, tells us the problem was there but has been resolved.
The fiber disconnection that happened at the Tema runabout. You know, the Tema runabout is having an expansion, and the excavator disconnected the fiber connection. That affected internet connections to our devices, and that has been resolved.
The branch remains under lock and key with armed police presence, as indications are that there will be no business today. Mr. Nyako, however, tells us the branch will open to business tomorrow.
Some have loans with us, some have deposits with us, and some also have investment with us. We are not running away with anybody's money. The customers should remain calm as we open the banking halls tomorrow to meet all their banking needs.
Meanwhile, the customers continue to agitate. From the East Legon branch of the Midland Savings and Loans Company here in Accra, I am Sextus Dongulo, reporting for Citi News.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has described the incident as regrettable. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, who condemned the incident, said the central bank was reviewing operations of savings and loans companies to avert such issues.
I think that this is a very important issue. We all regret very much what happened over the weekend. It shouldn't have happened. Violence is certainly not the way to go. But we recognize that we have some issues in the specialized deposit-taking institution sector. And these are the sectors where the poorest and most vulnerable in our society, places their deposits. So it's an issue that we have to deal with to strengthen the XDI sector, make sure that it is well capitalized, and make sure that depositors are confident in using or putting their monies into some of these microfinance and savings and loans companies.
Office. A statement signed by the Deputy Managing Director, Isaac Mensah, also said the Midland staff who witnessed the assault on patients or SAFO but failed to intervene had all been suspended. This, it says, are part of processes to ensure that such an incident is not recorded at their offices again. Now let's still stay with the savings and loans sector. And because of another incident with regards to liquidity challenges that occurred this morning at the Adabaka branch of the First Allied Savings and Loans Companies, customers were stranded as they were unable to withdraw money from the company. A visit to the Adabaka branch revealed that customers had been given less than 10% of the amounts they had deposited and 10% of the amounts they had wanted to withdraw. Some of them spoke to Citi Newsroom on the development.
The customers who could not access their funds said they will wait until they receive their money before leaving the company's premises. Several attempts by the staff of the bank and even the police officer on duty to convince the stranded customers to go home and return at a later date proved futile. Some of the customers who spoke to Citi News said they would do everything within their power to take their money.
I want to come to collect 10,500, and you give me, so I should go and come next week. I come almost 5 times. He didn't give me anything. So I come today to collect 10,000. He said they will not get 1,000 unless 50 Ghana. I said I will not collect that 50 Ghana unless they give me 1,000. I need money to solve my problem. I said if not giving me 10,000, you should give me 1,000 cedis for now. Then later on I'll come for the rest. I'm waiting for the 1,000. Today, if you're not giving me 1,000, I will not go.
I'm saying that just to make it clear, I paid cash, 20 new fine notes, 100 million, that's 100 old million, okay? That's how much I paid here. I didn't pay a check. 10,000 Ghana cedis cash. That was how much I paid here.
So you want your cash?
I want my cash, nothing else. I won't save it. This will be a susu.
The problem persists in all 27 branches of the company across the country. Officials of the Dabraka branch, who wouldn't speak on record, explained that they are unable to pay customers due to limited funds caused by panic withdrawal that has hit the company since last month. They attributed the massive withdrawal to rumors that the company belonged to the embattled former GFA boss, Kwesi Nyantechi. They, however, assured that efforts are being made to raise enough funds to pay customers.
Let's get to education now. The government has announced that it will adopt what it calls the double-track system to meet the increased enrollment into senior high schools due to the free SHS policy. The double-track system, which will be rolled out in September, is similar to the academic calendar run in the nation's universities. Making the announcement, President Akufo-Addo said the 2018-2019 academic year would see a 31% increase in the number of students entering senior high school per the arrangement.
The system, according to government, is to make room to admit more students, reduce class size and increase contact hours. It will be semester-based. Each batch will be in school for specific days per a semester. While the first stream is in school, the second will be on vacation. They resume classes when the first stream is also on vacation. The new system is expected to cost 323 million Ghana cedis to fully implement. President Akufo-Addo says the system, which is an intervention to address the growing number of students benefiting from the free senior high school policy, will also reduce the number of holidays for students.
And we have found a way to be able to absorb this intake. We call it the dual intake system that is going to allow us on a semester basis to address the challenge of this new population. We're doing it by, first of all, expanding the numbers of teachers. We're recruiting over 8,000 more teachers for the secondary schools this year than we had last year. And then we are going to employ a double-track school calendar system. The objectives of the double-track system are, one, that it will create room to accommodate the increase in enrollment. It will reduce class sizes. It will increase the contact hours as well as increase the number of holidays. And all this is going to be achieved with the existing infrastructure.
Though government view this as an intervention, the National Association of Graduate Teachers has raised major concerns. According to the association's president, Angel Kabunu, there are complications that need to be addressed.
It is a system that has several complications, and all those complications will have to be addressed. For me as a union leader, my interest is to protect the working condition of my members. The number of hours that they teach, the workload that they engage in, so that at the end of the day, my teachers do not become the sacrificial lamb for free senior high school by way of getting more students into the schools. 2, the infrastructure situation in the country currently. Is it capable of handling a 2-track system? Over the year, if we were dealing with 1,000 students within 1 year, we are now going to deal with 2,000 students within 1 year. We talk about the pressure on infrastructure. And when infrastructure collapses, it has a direct implication on teaching and learning. So these are issues that we need to address.
You're still watching Citi Newsroom live on Citi TV. My name is Frima Edunyame.
And my name is Nathan Kwao.
We have more news coming up shortly. Do stay.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guests, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day. The Point of View with Bernard Avlet, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on Citi TV.
The Citi FM Literacy Challenge is back. Are you a JHS student? Are you willing to contribute to change? What would you do if you were the president of Ghana? Do you want to win a whopping 10,000 Ghana cedis? If yes, then participate in the Literacy Challenge 2018. Level 1. The year is 2035. The law allows people below age 40 to contest the presidency. As a presidential candidate in a general election, in no less than 600 words, write your manifesto speech. Remember, letter must be in your own handwriting, must be endorsed by a parent or guardian. Add your full contact details and post to the Literacy Challenge, P.O. Box GP 14123 Accra Central, or drop it off at the front desk of Citi FM at the Braka behind the police station. Level 2, the top 50 students selected from all over Ghana shall take a written general knowledge quiz. And finally, level 3, the top 10 students shall compete in the classic quiz competition to win the ultimate prize of 10,000 Ghana cedis. The Literacy Challenge is powered by 97.3 Citi FM and sponsored by Data Bank Edifund and MoneyGram with support from Citi TV. Closing date for entries is Friday, 10th August 2018. Call 0205-973-973 for more inquiries. Terms and conditions apply.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, the library bill to honor the memory of Ghana's late former president, John Evans Atta Mills, remains unused 2 years after it was inaugurated. The digital library located in Cape Coast remains closed with outstanding fees vowed to the contractor owed the contract by government.
Citi Newsroom's Nashika Caesar and Joseph Akun Mensah have more in this feature.
Situated opposite the Cape Coast Castle in the central regional capital, is a beautiful edifice that has become a white elephant. This two-story structure is a John Evans Mills Presidential Library, built in honor of the late former president of Ghana, who passed away on July 24th, 2012. The digital library was inaugurated by ex-President John Dramani Mahama in July 2016 to preserve and make available the papers, records, collections and historical materials of President Mills and other prominent African intellectuals and political leaders. But the library has not been operationalized since the New Patriotic Party, NPP, assumed political power in 2017. The Library and Digital Research Center is equipped with a 100-capacity auditorium, a 45-seater multimedia unit, seminar rooms, and a museum. However, the facility, like others including the Legon and Ofankor hospitals, have been abandoned since the Nanado government took over the administration of this country. Despite several calls by individuals and groups for the facility to be opened, it still remains locked. The reason for this is that the contractors who built the library have still not been paid. They in turn locked the place up. Citi Newsroom spoke to one of the contractors who said they have not been paid their fees 2 years after the library was built, hence their decision to lock the place up. He said government is adamant to pay their money because, according to them, the idea to build the library was a private initiative. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Joseph Gatti, believes that if more planning had been put into the building of the facility, they wouldn't be faced with these challenges.
The construction of that place itself, there's some money left to be paid to him. So finally, the contractor left with the keys. We don't even know where the contractor is now. In attempting to put up this nice edifice and for the good thoughts we had about that place, we forgot that there must be a budget line to run the place. It would have been easier to run that place if it was on campus here. Then we make that part of the usual facilities on campus. Then in that case comes the academic facilities, so that electricity and water and all those will be catered for somehow through the budget we sent to government. But it is in town, so there's nothing we can do about that. Even then, maintenance, because the thing is quite close to the sea, so it needs regular maintenance.
Here is the organizer of the Cape Coast Youth Association, Stephen Duffel-Forson, sounding a strong warning to government to get the library operational or face their wrath.
We have given petition to President Nana Akufo-Addo and former President and Omahim of Oguaa Traditional Council and chairman of the planning committee of the Atamus Library and the person who, the architect, we give him, and the contractor also, we have given him petition. And we are telling the authorities who have any power to organize money for the contractor to open the library, if they don't do it, when they come to Cape Coast, for 6th anniversary, for Saturday's 6th anniversary, we will demonstrate against them.
Some residents also spoke on the need for the facility to be opened.
I can say that it is good for us to have it. They must open it for us. So we are begging the government to come to our aid and do all the necessary things that they have to do so that they can open it for us to benefit from it.
Now away from education, Citi Newsroom's tour of several communities in the northern part of the Western region has shown residents resolve to vote yes for the creation of the Western North region. Our Western regional correspondent, Akweseje Anim, reports that although majority of the residents do not oppose the idea of a new region, they have maintained that a new region must bring out massive development to them.
At least 9 out of the 23 local assemblies of the Western region, including Sehuyosu municipality and Akontomra district, have been tipped to be part of the new Western North region. These localities are predominantly cocoa growing areas with pressing development concerns. The whole of Akontomra district, for instance, has just 30 kilometers of tarred roads out of the 219 kilometers. Premised on these challenges, residents are looking forward to the creation of a new region after the referendum in December.
Matise region, minim de odeba, abane de baha. Inti di odi baba bia ye de yepe. Ye kwan kra nye inti so de ba ye pese obeye ye kwan mayen. Eno na ye hia.
The cocoa is produced here as a raw material sent to Takoradi
And before you even get a Milo, because it is not processed over here, you have to also travel from here to Takoradi or maybe Kumasi or whatsoever to buy those Milo down here. And the transportation involved is very, very, very unbearable, of which we think when the region is created over here and industries are also put in place, we also benefit from it.
I support the creation of the new region, and I think that will give us more decentralization powers so that we, the Western North over here, can have our region.
I'm voting yes for the Western North region to be created because this part of the region has been neglected in some ways. If you have to do your national service, you have to travel all the way to Takoradi. There are some things, even when you have to do some form of licensing and things, you have to go to Kumasi or Takoradi.
Local authorities for Akontamra District and Sehuyoso both believes a new region is needed to fix some administrative difficulties facing their respective assemblies.
Look at our road; it's very bad, and when we get this region, I think especially we'll get feeder roads, engineers, and the urban roads over here. So they will also help us to also tie our roads and those things. So it is going to help us a lot, and I think 80% of the indigenous people in the district are going to vote for this region to take place.
When you go to every assembly, there are 3 key offices: the DC, the coordinating director, and the finance officer. But mostly they are invited for meetings, either in Accra or in Takoradi. And when one person is not there, when the DC is not there, sometimes the work comes to a halt. When the coordinator too is not there, the work comes to a halt. But for instance, when a region is created in Western North region, it will save man-hours. 2, look at the cost involved when they are going, the fuel, the allowance that they have to take, the hotel accommodation, all these things. When you put all this money together, I think that it can construct a borehole for a deprived community in one of these assemblies.
Ahead of the referendum, the paramount chief of Sehuyoso traditional area, Katachi Kwesi Bumagama, who has been a major supporter of the Western North region, believes people will vote yes for the new region.
The referendum is a serious business to us. It's a do and die affair. We are going to get the 80 plus their 50 as their wish. It's a serious business. We are not going to take things for granted at all.
To ensure people vote massively for the creation of the new region, a pickup vehicle has been made available to propagate why the new region would improve their livelihood. This campaign is led by a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel.
Well, the Secretariat has done and continues to do what we are doing right now is that we move from village to village, and then there's something like a town hall meeting and tell them the benefits of having our own region. We expect nothing less than 100% from each district that constitute the Western North.
With the anticipated immense development that will come with the creation of the Western North, the people of Sehui and its environs are simply for a yes vote in the upcoming referendum and nothing else. For Citi Newsroom, I am Akwesi Ejenim, Sehuyoso.
Let's come to Accra and let's get to the Parliament House, where Asin Central MP Kenneth Japon has apologized before the Privileges Committee for his alleged contemptuous comments. He was brought before the committee for a second time today based on a motion filed by Asawasi MP Muntaka Mubarak for allegedly describing Parliament and Majority Leader Oseche Mensah Bonsu as cheap. There is more in the following report.
Even before proceedings for today's hearing could properly begin, the chairman of the committee's attention was drawn to a memo from the respondent, Kenneth Japon, requesting Parliament to rescind its decision to refer the matter to the Privileges Committee. Counsel for Kenneth Japon, Alexander Penyo-Martin, further raised some objections to the process, asking for adjournment of proceedings.
It's a memorandum from Honorable Kenneth Japon, our respondent here, and the subject is notice of motion. It's addressed to the Clerk of Parliament. It's dated 23rd July 2018. And it's a notice of motion under Order 78 that this House rescinds its decision in terms of the directive of Mr. Speaker pursuant to the motion moved by the Honourable Member for Asawasi
on the alleged contemptuous conduct of the member of Asin Central, moved on 6th of June 2018, pursuant to Order 91B, 28, 32, and 31 of the Standing Orders.
Mr. Chairman, we, with respect, have 3 issues to bring to your attention, which issues will border on the jurisdiction of the committee. We hold the view that these matters are relevant, important, substantial, and we must be heard. Procedure in matters the nature of which is before us is critical. I may refer the House to official reports dated Friday, 24 July 2015.
The chairman of the committee, Joe Oseusu, dismissed the objections and ruled that the proceedings should continue.
It's a decision of the committee that I only report on. So please, we shall proceed.
The evidence as presented before the committee was shown to the witness. Kenneth Japon protested the admissibility of the evidence and claimed parts had been doctored, but later apologized to the committee for calling Parliament and leader Osei Mensah-Bonsu cheap. He added that he, however, never said Parliament was useless.
He attacked me on Citi FM, said a lot of things. Today that the evidence has come out, what are we all sitting here going to say? But I apologize to Parliament. I don't have a problem at all.
The committee chairman called for a replay of the last minute of the video in evidence to ascertain whether the witness indeed said Parliament was useless or not.
The House is cheap. The House is useless. That is the evidence the Honourable Member submitted to the committee. But that is the work we're doing here, to inquire. But you keep using that to indict the committee, and that's why it was important for me to refer you to that. The committee has not formed an opinion yet. We are still under inquiry.
The committee is expected to evaluate the evidence as against the responses submitted in order to make a determination of the case. For Citi News from Parliament, I am Duke Mensah-Opoku.
And this is where we part company on the Citi Newsroom. For more news, do visit citinewsroom.com.
My name is Nathan Kwao.
And I am Femedi Nyame. Have a great evening.